Hey guys, welcome to Andy Shaw's YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss about creativity. Thinking creatively helps you find ways to deal with challenges and form opportunities. Understand how creativity can help you become more successful in all areas of your life. The most important thing here is, what is creativity? Creativity is the process of challenging accepted ideas and ways of doing things in order to find new solutions or concepts. Be aware of the obstacles that stand in the way of the creative impulse and understand the benefits that creative thinking can bring you. Recognize that everyone has the ability to be creative. You need to change your current pattern of thinking. Remember that changes begin with questioning. Understand how logical and creative thinking are integral to each other. Use your past experience to find solutions. Think creatively to increase your opportunities. You need to explore possible outcomes before making any decision. Use your imagination to find different solutions. Understand how conditioning forces you to think in a prescribed way and limits your potential. Most importantly, aim to look for information in more productive and insightful ways. Recognize that the creativity is driven by the desire to improve processes. Bypass your assumptions and think creatively. Cannot make assumptions. You need to think creatively. Believe that you can think of solutions. Try not to be constrained by rules. Accept that problems are the food of creativity. You need to understand your thinking processes so that you are able to adapt them. Identify the side of the brain that you are naturally influenced by. You need to notice how you approach your problems and think about whether you are naturally creative. How do you develop creativity? You develop creativity by recognizing the advantages and the pitfalls of different thinking patterns. You also can develop creativity by structuring your time so that it is more productive. You need to generate lots of ideas before making a decision. Always remember that there are many ways of looking at things. Like, somebody might say the glass is half empty. I might say the glasses are full. It means the same thing, but it is said in a different way. That is creativity. I might say, if there is a clock which is not working, I might say the clock is not working. Somebody else might say time has stopped. Thinking creativity is all. It's all about it's all about the mind. It's all about how creativity helps you, or how creative you are. Being ready to question the accepted. There is an accepted norm that it could be anything. It is an accepted fact that uh, that mm, India is corrupt. People in India, the policemen, the politicians in India are corrupt. You need to question that accepted fact. But the Indian police and the Indian politicians are all not all corrupt. You need to view problems as an impetus to change. Ask questions, even if they seem ridiculous. What will happen? They laugh at you. At the most, they laugh at you. Recognizing that developing creativity takes time and practice is really important. Think about the change you would want to like to make and how you could initiate it. Making a change is really important, yes. How do you make that change is more important. The process is more important than the solution. Remove your self-imposed mental roadblocks by carrying out creative exercises. You need to use coaching to help you change your current thinking pattern. You can ask a colleague that you admire advice on how to improve your creative skills. You can set a fixed amount of time for coaching sessions. Form clear goals to work towards during a coaching session. Recognizing Recognize that coaching is an effective means of changing your current patterns of behavior. Pinpoint what you want so that you can set about achieving it. Think in terms of the results you want to achieve. Focus on the questions that rather than predicting the answers. What you want to ask is more important than what you want to listen to. Learn to cross the natural barriers of your mind. Ask yourself the perceived Ask yourself why you perceive an issue as a problem. Always keep in mind this thing. Always keep in mind that problems are opportunity for changes. A problem can always help you in changing. Questions, Question and challenge ideas rather than just accepting them. You cannot just accept anything. You need to question them. You need to challenge them. You need to understand them. You need to research about them. You need to ask a lot of questions. Ask a lot of questions. They might seem ridiculous, but then you need to ask the questions. You need to challenge the ideas before you accept them. Let your subconscious mind find solutions. Subconscious mind is very important when you need to find solutions. Invest time in learning so so that you can do things differently, so that you can identify new opportunities. More importantly, tackle open-ended problems with creative thinking. Consider whether a problem requires creative thinking or whether a solution is clear cut. If you have a clear cut solution, don't think a lot about the problem. If your problem is not clear with a clear cut answer, you need to be creative. Identify your desired outcome so that you can work towards achieving it. Use creative tools by helping to help you think in more productive ways. Learn how to select the right tool to achieve the best result. Always believe that there is a better way to do things and then find out what it is. I might make a movie. There is nothing best. There is nothing good better, and then there is the best, and then there is the bestest. So people see like if I do something, I can do it better. If I do it better, I can do it better than the next time. For example, Virat Kohli, if he makes a century today, he can make a better century tomorrow. He can make a even better century the next day. Write down your ideas and start to evaluate them. Very important. Think about what you want to have in an ideal world. Be clear about your goals and ideas, and when before you explain them to others. How do you implement ideas? Creativity has a value only if it is turned into action. Understanding the process by which creative ideas are turned into realistic plans is really important. Make sure that you are able to monitor progress and always be ready to deal with difficulties should they arise. Recognize that ideas that are left unimplemented have no value. I might write an Oscar winning script. If I don't produce it, the script has no value. Implementing ideas is really important. Ideas that you can implement, ideas that are implementable. Like, if you don't know how to implement ideas, don't create the ideas. Write out an action plan so that you can begin to put in your ideas into practice. You need to make sure that all your team members are clear about the goals of the project. Everyone needs to know about the goals of the project. See how action plans help you work with others. How do you involve creative people? Sometimes we need to employ people with acknowledged creative talent to help us find the solutions to our problems. Recognize the benefits of working with specialist creative people and provide the right environment for them to thrive in. Managing creative people by being open-minded and flexible is very much required. You need to evaluate creative ideas before you judge them. Test them, evaluate them before you go for any solution. Avoid rejecting ideas without considering them. Always involve positive people in your decisions, as they often produce the best ideas. How do you work with others? Although we have we all have ideas that we incorporate into our daily lives, it can be difficult to encourage others to follow us. Develop ideas with others and build consensus and commitment. Creativity is stimulated when ideas are shared with others. Recognize that people will be better motivated if they are involved in generating the ideas that lead to decisions. Support others and be ready to show them how to use creative techniques. Always remember that collective thinking can reap many successful ideas. Collective thinking, see, for example, when you're making a film, it is a collective job. There's a director, there's a DOP, there are spot boys, there are actors, actresses, there are set designers, there are set decorators, there are ADs. ADs means assistant directors. There are script writers, there are editors, there are costume designers. Everybody needs to think collective so that you can create a successful idea. Acknowledge that everyone has something to offer. Every person has something to offer. Learn how to use the necessary creative tools properly. Aim to develop a team's creative potential. You need to notice how a team environment gives people confidence. You need to share ideas so that you can fine tune them. Sharing ideas can help you. If you share idea with the person can give you feedback, can give you an opinion that can help you in your implementation and in your fine tuning of the ideas. Remember that open debate produces consensus. Always make sure that the composition of the team is appropriate for the problem. Always ensure that the team understands the idea of creative meeting. Make sure that you prepare for your meeting well. Very important that you are you need to be prepared for your meeting, any meeting whatsoever. Listen carefully. Very important is to listen carefully and making your notes if you can refer to. Just call ideas out rather than thinking about them first. You need to call your idea out first. Before you create an idea, think about it. If you think about it, ask them. Suspend judgment, encourage the generation of ideas, and let other people's thoughts inspire you. Analyzing your ideas. Ideas need to be analyzed to make sure that they are workable and meet your specified criteria. After a creative session, evaluate all the ideas against your goals, identify instant winners, categorize ideas, and decide what can be implemented. Remember that only data becomes information after it is categorized. Data only becomes information after it is categorized. Pinpoint the ideas that are obviously instant winners. You need to choose the easiest ideas to implement initially. Choose categories that can help you in managing your data. Judge ideas on their achievability and their value and rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. Stimulating ideas. People can find people can find generating ideas difficult, especially when it means moving into the unknown. Try to find the best practical examples to help inspire your team. Lead people with confidence and ask questions that open new avenues of thought. Try changing the way you look at a problem. Very important. These principles of management are not cannot will not be taught in school or college. This is just from my personal experience, yes, and also by understanding how management really works. Because I am I come from a field of media. I understand these creative issues, this creativity stuff. Empower people to generate solutions. You need to set a good example to your team by being proactive. Being proactive is really important. For example, I'm talking about cricket here. Saurav Ganguly and Virat Kohli are proactive people. They are proactive. They are always active. If you're active, then your team can be active. If you're not active, then a team cannot be active. A team, cricket team, any team, is only as good as its captain or as its leader. Use questions rather than challenging accepted thought. Use closed questions to access information. You need to be polite when you ask people questions. Being polite is very important. It makes all the difference. Use closed questions to start a discussion and then develop it by asking open questions. You need to be sensitive when asking questions. Avoid making people believe that they are being interrogated. That would not work. Reviewing ideas. Organizations waste a lot of money every year on new ideas that fail because they have not been challenged and feel and examined objectively. Use the different use the different perspective of your team members to test the potential of ideas. Challenge ideas in order to fully understand what they represent for. Decide whether you are a dreamer, a realist, or a critic. Notice what roles people in your form or team tend to play. Make sure that everyone has the chance to speak. Everyone has the equal opportunity, should have the equal opportunity to speak. Keep reviewing and questioning to stay ahead of the game. For organizations, it is really important to remain competitive. If they want to remain competitive, they need to continuously develop what they do and the way they do it. Applying creative method to analyze for analyzing of processes and reviewing your organization's practices to make sure that they are efficient and up to date is really important. Analyze your current procedures to see how they can be improved. Inspire people into accepting changes that you propose. Recognizing Recognize that poor presentation skills kill ideas. I might write a great story, but if I don't know how to shoot a good film, my film will not work. The idea can only be successful if you have the potential of creating a good stuff. A good idea is half a work done, but a great implementation of a great idea is the complete process, is the complete result. Ask your team to offer ideas on how process can be improved. Reviewing the implications of your decision is really important. Consider your ideas for every possible angle. Be convincing when you present your ideas. You need to be convincing to your customer, to your people. If you are presenting your ideas, you need to be convinced yourself. Always remember that a team is as strong as its leader. As I said in the past, a team can only be good enough if they have a good leader. Using feedbacks to improve your skills is a must. Well, the most important factor, I'll say, the most important aspect here, you should never take criticism personally. Never do that. With this, I come to an end of today's session about creativity. I hope you like the topic. It might sound a bit preachy, but and it might sound that I'm just saying and talking, and this is just a gist of what you should do in your day-to-day life. Have you implemented? It's up to you. But this is just a small way of teaching you guys, teaching young people how to manage, how to be creative, and how to use the creativity in their field.